This is a really exciting lesson. I always love teaching this module. I want to teach you my secret websites, the special sites where you're pre-selected, where it's so easy to meet amazing women. Now you need to decide what you want before you start playing the game, because I'm going to show you a bunch of different websites, and you don't need to join all 10 of them to find what you're looking for. So I'm going to cover a little bit about how to figure out what you're looking for. We talk about it in some other modules, so we'll go quickly. And then we're going to get to the really exciting sites. This is my secret sauce. These are my secret websites. These are the most amazing dating sites that women know about, but not a lot of men know about yet, or guys think they can't join it. I'm going to share with you a lot of secrets about each different site, what I know, my own experiences, tons of stuff. Now, I tell this how to win, and what I want you to think about, it's not about you winning against a girl. I don't want you to have that mindset. It's how you can win and she can win, how to win together. So it's how to get the relationship you want with the girl you want. That's the ultimate, right? Where you have the girl you want, or the girls you want, the relationships you want, and the girl in your life is happy in the same way. You're both winning. That's really what you want. So you want to be on the right side. You know, some of these sites, they're really more geared towards long-term relationships, monogamy, marriage, and that's okay. But if you go on those sites and you're looking for the wildness, it's going to be a lot harder than if you go on the wild sites, if you're looking for wild sites. And if you look for monogamy on the wild sites, it's going to be challenging. So you want to think about what kind of girl do you want to end up with. And you need to think about it now before we go too far, just because, you know, once you get your profile running, you're going to get 100 emails from young, beautiful women in the next couple of days, and you're going to be overwhelmed, and suddenly it's hard to remember what you thought about beforehand. So that's okay. I'm just giving you a little bit of warning. That's why we cover this now, because a lot of things are going to happen. So you want to choose the right sites because you want to avoid the wrong path. You know, at one end of the spectrum, there's the prostitutes, and when a really hot girl that you've never seen anyone that hot before is like, hey, want to come over and bang me, and the price seems legitimate, or it's cheap, you're like, wow, I didn't know I could sleep with a girl that hot for that cheap. It can draw you in, and you want to kind of avoid that. And the other end of the spectrum is the gold diggers, the girl that just really wants to suck your wallet dry, looking for the long-term haul. And in between those two, and what's great is it's the majority of these sites. Most people think about, when I share these websites, they're going to assume it's 90% bad girls. It's really 90% sweethearts. That's why it's so awesome. That massive societal misperception leaves a wide open opportunity for high quality guys like you and me. Now, there's a couple of dangerous distractions. I want to cover these really quickly because I don't want you to lose sight of your goals. Right out the gate, I really think you don't want to look for a wife, especially if you join one of the more wild sites like I use, like Seeking Arrangement, my personal favorite one. That's not really the site where you want to find someone to give them access to 50% of your wealth for the rest of your life. I really recommend, if you are looking for a long-term relationship, just give yourself 3 months of kind of getting loose, seeing what's out there. I don't want you to marry the first girl you meet off one of these sites, because you're still kind of figuring things out. So give yourself a little bit of time. Say, hey, I'm going to give myself 3 months before I kind of get locked into any type of relationship. I can tell you from my own personal experience, I did exactly what I'm trying to warn you against. I met a girl early on when I started getting when I started getting better with women, and I was like, wow, I'm trying to learn how to be really good and confident, comfortable with women. This is the girl I should end up with. Okay, and I was like, I'm done trying to learn, I'm done trying to self-improve, I'm locking down with this girl. And it was a terrible decision. She ended it with me. I'm so glad she did. I don't know how to express it, okay? My life is on an upward vector. Her life has only gotten worse and worse. She's one of those girls that gets so drunk she collapses in bars, okay? And she's in a bar 7 nights a week. That's not what I want. She had no aspirations. She's still doing the same thing, bartending at random different bars in the same small town. I'm so glad I didn't get caught up in that, but in the moment I thought she was perfect because I didn't have enough for comparison. As you go from dating average looking women to amazing or younger or kind of super high quality women, you need to give your brain and your heart time to transition. So don't jump into marrying the first girl you meet. And if you want to meet, I'm going to show you the right sites where you can meet. If you are looking for a serious long-term relationship or wife stuff, I'll tell you which sites there are good ones for those, okay? And don't look for love, again, right out the gate. It's really dangerous to kind of put your heart on your sleeve too early, because the whole advantage of these dates is it removes the fake love and emotional games and it replaces it with financial, sexual practicalities. It kind of, whenever you're interaction is, as you're communicating with these girls, she's like, hey, I want to be with you because you can help me achieve my goals. You can help me learn to be better in business. You can help me learn to start my own company. You can help me kind of mentor me, or you can kind of just give me access to like the lifestyle I wish I had a part of, hey, I just wish I was dating a guy that had his own car, and now I have that. Now I don't have to drive you to work. That all those things kind of moving up. And so there's a lot more honesty. So again, it's the same thing with looking for a wife, looking for love. Just give yourself time to normalize. These rules are really for the first 90 days. Okay, after that, after you've been doing this for 90 days, these rules aren't as important anymore, okay? You can find a long-term relationship and you can kind of develop all these different things. The other thing is I really want you to think about if you want monogamy. This is an important question to give yourself a little bit of time. Do you only want one girlfriend in your life? I want you to just take a few minutes and think about it seriously, because, dating multiple girls is one of the ways to live a life of abundance. Of course you're going to always feel like you have access to tons of women because you're literally dating multiple women. And there's a lot of ways to do that. We talk about that in some of the bonus lessons, some of the advanced lessons about how to date multiple girlfriends, have those multiple relationships, and kind of have everyone be really happy and be in a situation where you're dating more than one woman. And all the women are happy with what's happening. And we want to protect you. I want to protect you from emotionally overinvestment too soon. My worry is that you'll meet the first girl who messages you back, you'll go on a date, and you'll kind of get drawn into her world, and you'll give her your heart, and you won't realize that she doesn't feel the same way back yet, because you kind of haven't gotten used to dating this high-level girl. And if you met the same girl in 90 days, once you're more confident, comfortable with this whole dating better looking women, you would have a much better relationship that started then, even with the same girl. And you want to kind of avoid getting clingy. One of the reasons girls join these sites is because they're used to dating beta men, low-level men who get super clingy or who get caught up in control. The guys who text her all the time and always want to know where she is, and they're always worried she's cheating or all these things. Don't get caught up doing that stuff. She's going to expect you to be a different type of guy. That's one of the reasons she's at these sites. Another thing is control your budget. Don't get drawn into really expensive dates or trying to impress the girl with craziness. You can have it really simple. And we talk about how to make your house awesome in some of the later lessons, and it's really simple things. A lot of people think to impress a woman you got to break out $1,000 bottle of champagne. 99.999% of women, and probably the same percentage of men, cannot tell the difference between a $10 and a $1,000 bottle of champagne. I've had both, and I don't think I could. I've seen a lot of studies, I'm really into science, where people can't tell the difference. So you don't have to spend a lot of money to give a girl a good experience. If you just spend like $100 filling your house with like high quality booze, like a couple of bottles of top shelf liquor, a couple of bottles of wine, and like a bottle of champagne, that's like $100. But it looks to most girls and most people that can't afford that kind of money like $1,000 or $10,000 bar. They'll be so impressed. Now, don't forget your dreams. Okay, don't get caught up with one girl and forget your original dream. That's why I say think about what you want right now. Think about what's the perfect relationship. Don't settle for a girl that's like halfway there or not quite yet, because you won't be happy and she won't be happy. That's for both of you. There's no reason for two people who aren't quite a good match to lock into each other. If she's not perfect for you and you're not perfect for her, just move on. There's so many more girls coming your way. The system is so powerful that you don't have to worry about that. You have abundance. So we want to start looking at sites now. This is the exciting part. This is why you're looking at this lesson. First thing is, do not use any of the sites that aren't on our list. I listed every single site that is not a scam. There are websites that kind of say they do, high quality men dating or rich men dating. They have a bunch out there. There's probably 10 quality ones and about 20 ones that have fake profiles and a bunch of crap. All of these sites are the high quality one. And I'm going to kind of show you my favorite ones first, the ones that I think are the best. And I want you to, from these sites, choose one that kind of fits what you're looking for. But the reason I provide this list is because it's important to know. It's just like with regular dating. I could show you, there's probably 20 or 30 normal, traditional dating sites that are good, and probably 70 or 80 pretty big ones that have a lot of fake profiles. I happen to know the guy who runs, and I spent some time with him, who runs the biggest online dating conference for all the people that own those companies, where they all meet together, and he talked to me about it for a long time, and it's one of the big issues they have is that a lot of sites have tons of fake profiles. So let's start with my personal favorite. All the demos and examples you're going to see in this course are from Seeking Arrangement because it's the site I use the most right now. Reason Seeking Arrangement is great is because it has tons and tons and tons of new members every day. While you're watching this video, at least 20 to 50 attractive women join the site under the age of 21. I don't even look, I've never looked, searched, or anyone whose profile is over the age of 30, and I rarely look over 25. Okay, so when I say hundreds, I literally mean just in the small slew of 18 to 21, and I'm talking about who categorize themselves as skinny or as athletic. I don't even look at normal or average and when I talk about these numbers. So I'm talking about tier 1, top of the line, you know, the best of the best. The reason Seeking Arrangement is great is because you have quantity. This is really the best site for refining your profile. If you, even if you're looking for a monogamous or looking for love, I would say some of the sites for serious relationships have like lower membership numbers. They do it so you kind of have less chances. Seeking Arrangement is a great place to just practice your profile. You'll be sending different types of messages, and we can kind of dig into that more and more. But the main thing is that you really want to just have fun with this site. I think of this site as just a big video game, because there's so many girls and you can just have so much fun. Doesn't matter where you live. Like the other week I was looking in this town called like Powhatan, Kansas, or Potwin, Kansas. It's something like that. There's like 500 girls that joined this year under the age of 25 in that town, and they're all good looking. So like even the smallest, most randomness of towns, maybe that's a big city, I don't know, but I noticed one day because tons of new members were all from the same city. So I looked, I was like, wow, this town is blowing up. And Seeking Arrangement, I think, has the highest membership level. It seems like that to me with my searches. What I like about it is that it lets me do some of my more advanced searching techniques that I cover in some of the super advanced lessons. But it's really easy to search. It's really easy to join. You don't have to go through a lot of rigmarole to prove that you're what level of wealth you are, that you're super baller. Basically, just by joining, you're pre-qualified. I love this site. It's really, if you're looking for like crazy, this is, in my experience, this is the craziest one. There's a couple other sites that I think have some craziness too, and I'll talk about those. But from my own personal experience, you know, is when it comes to threesomes, when it comes to sisters, when it comes to best friends, when it comes to dating girls that are just like models or Playboy playmates or penthouse pets or girls that have been in different movies, anything like that, you're going to see a lot of really amazing stuff, and this is a site for that. So this is my personal favorite site, and when you look at the lesson where I show you my actual profile, this is the site where I show you that profile. I've met women off a lot of different sites. I've met women off this site. I think this site is owned by the same people. It certainly feels like it. This is really, if you take Seeking Arrangement and you shift a little bit more towards just like monogamy, not all the way into marriage, but this is definitely girls that are like a cut closer to like long-term relationships. You can still meet a lot of same girls. There's a lot of crossover because a lot of girls join one site, then they join the other one, because you can join multiple free ones. You can even see here it says no gold diggers allowed. This site is going to have a, like, Seeking Arrangement has a lot, has way more of kind of prostitutes mixed in. Compared, Seeking Millionaire has a lot less of that, but it has more kind of gold diggers mixed in. So with each different site, you have different pluses and minuses. And what I like about this site is that it's just girls that are looking for a millionaire. Now, right now, you need to know that this site, to qualify as a millionaire, you have to make $150,000 a year. So their definition of millionaire isn't even a millionaire. So the site isn't even pretending, okay, that you have to be a millionaire. You know, a lot of guys, they go, oh, I'm not a millionaire. You probably are, you know. You can scrape by. I think even like they stratify it. Even if you're making like, you'll have to look, but even if you're making more than like $8,000 a year, they'll consider you like super baller. And really, girls join the site, they're just looking to move up social echelons. So you got to kind of realize there's plenty of girls out there that to them, if you have your own apartment and you don't have a roommate, that's like a big move up. Or even if you have a roommate, but you have your own. I know a lot of really hot girls, they share a bedroom with another girl, you know, especially like struggling models. They're struggling, you know. I have a lot of girls that are like, sometimes I meet an amazing girl we're dating for a while, and she's like, hey, can you help me out with my rent? I'm like, what is your rent? And she's like, $300 a month. And I'm like, oh my God, where do you live? Where can you live for that cheap? And, you know, I'm not spending $20,000 a month on rent or whatever, but sometimes I'm amazed, and I forget that in college, you know what, my rent was $375 a month. So sometimes we forget those things as we move away from those experiences, but people's definitions of wealth are not what you think. So if you're looking for like a girlfriend, and even if you want two or three like long-term girlfriends, this can be a cool site. I still personally, I really lean towards starting with Seeking Arrangement because that's a great place with a quantity to get loose. And then this can be the site you move into after like 2 or 3 months because you're like, okay, I've met a couple girls off Seeking Arrangement. They're wild. They're too wild for me. I need a girl that's like a little more calm, a little more, not scary in the bedroom. Then here, this site is awesome. Again, I think I definitely know it's owned by people that own Seeking Arrangement. And what's great about this site is all about travel. Now, the girls on this site are not as good looking as Seeking Arrangement. Seeking Arrangement, as far as I'm concerned, has the straight up hottest girls. Okay? If you're like looks, that's where it's at. But if you like travel at all, you can definitely find some gems in here. Now, there are girls on Miss Travel. Every once in a while, I'll see a girl on there that's like an 11, that's like crazy, crazy, crazy hot. So they are mixed in here. If you're into traveling at all, this is the site to find it. And there's really the whole spectrum. There are girls on here that's idea of a trip is going to Disneyland with you for like 3 days. And I wish I was making that up as an example, but I've definitely seen that in someone's profile. What's great about this, if you have a heart for travel and you want to travel the world, like if you're like, you know what, I've paid my dues, I'd love to travel the world. And there's something else I talk about, and I can certainly tell you can travel the world on $3,000 a month and live like a king if you go to the right countries, like live really, really well. And that's kind of really what my heart is. I'd much rather have free time than make huge amounts of money. I've kind of shifted my lifestyle. And so I love meeting girls off of Miss Travel. And what's great about that is you can meet two types of girls. There's girls that'll travel with you. There's girls that will show you around your town. So you can just be like, hey, I'm in Paris for the weekend. And you message all the girls in Paris, right? Because you travel a lot. And you might meet a girl that's amazing. And then you take her on a trip with you. I have a friend who does this full time. He's always traveling around the world. And he meets tons and tons of girls off this site, even more than me. I couldn't believe when I found out he's using the site more than I do. And there's just a lot of great about it. So if you have any desire to travel, if you travel for work, this is a great site. But if you're really if you just travel for work and you just want to meet different girls in every city, you can get that on Seeking Arrangement. But Miss Travel, if you like travel and if you want someone that has like a heart for traveling with you, and this is where you can meet. There's girls on here that straight up are like, will travel from country to country on those long, like 13-hour buses. So you're talking like, if you'll spend $8 to help her travel from Thailand to Malaysia, you know what I mean? They're not looking for first class or any craziness. They just want a guy that kind of can be the man in these things, and it doesn't cost anything. Like there's a big misperception there. Like, hey, taking a girl on a trip with me, guess what? The hotel room costs the same. Whether there's one person or two people in it, you know what I mean? And that's kind of the thing, realizing that it's more about finding someone who has a heart for travel. There's no other good travel dating sites. And I've done a lot of traveling, so I know a lot about it. And I've got tons and tons of secret techniques for meeting girls built around travel. And this site blows my other stuff out of the water. All the other techniques I developed and all the other effort I spent building in profiles on other travel social media sites, Miss Travel blows them out of the water. And the girls on here, I would say, they have shittier profiles. Girls put no effort into their profiles on this site. And just expect that. Just look at the pictures. She'll say a little bit about her travel. Once in a while you'll see a good profile, but you don't really get to know a girl until you talk to her. Girls kind of slack off on their profiles, but we don't do it. We put in the efforts. They don't have to. Here's a site, Millionaire Match. This is actually the first site I ever dabbled with. I definitely met a girl that had a long-term relationship on here. This site, it's got pluses and minuses. My experience, the easiest way to meet girls on here is by doing their live chat room. But this is where this is the first site he tried out, and he met some wild girls, okay, using this site, completely ridiculous. And again, this girl he was dating just wanted to be with a guy who had his own car and had his own place. And that's it. She wasn't looking for anything crazy. I met girls off this site. This is a site where I've met. So you can meet tier 1. If you're really looking for a marriage or a real relationship, this is definitely one of the solid places. And again, this site's idea of a millionaire is something like $250,000 a year or something, or maybe it's even less. I forget. None of them you actually have to make $1 million. I don't think. Or maybe this one, if you want to be a certified super millionaire, you have to send in a tax return. But again, the tax return just to show, like, it doesn't have to show $1 million a year. It has to show something way lower. So just the whole thing is that is a misperception. And the guys that see that and don't join the site because they see the word millionaire, that leaves it open for guys like you and me. I'm certainly not a millionaire, and the girl I met and dated off this for a long time was super, super hot. SugarDaddy.com, this site, it's got pluses and minuses. Again, this is kind of one of my lower favorites. I dabble around with this site. I don't really like the searching on here personally because I really like to really drill down my searches. But this site does have like a lot of members and always has new members, and it's got some good stuff going on. Sponsor for me, this site, the reason this site is pretty well known is because I know a lot of guys find like young girls and talk them into doing adult movies off this site. So you can find girls on here that are pretty wild. Like, you know what I mean? You can find girls that are like that crazy. So again, I would say that this is like a lighter version of Seeking Arrangement. It is getting bigger and bigger, and they're really pushing. They even pay girls $10 to join, and so maybe some girls do that. They're trying to just get more real profiles. At least shows that they're kind of driving for real profiles. I find their search to be a little bit complicated. Again, and that's me. I'm looking for the easiest. If you're a little bit more patient than me, I'm super, super impatient. You see how fast I talk? But this site, if you want to find like a crazy, super hot girl that will sleep with you before you meet, like they will just show up at your house before you go out for drinks and have sex with you, this is like a great site for that. You are going to get a mix of girls. There are going to be some prostitutes and gold diggers like everything else. But again, it's less than 10% of the site. There's a lot of quality. And you can even look at the dudes on the site. Look at these dudes, okay? You can see these are the homepage guys. You got a guy who's got his face blacked out. Why? Is he really famous? I don't think so. That guy, it could be me. It's like a fat guy with a beard. You got a picture of like a boat dock, picture of the back of the guy's head, a picture of a fat guy's crotch. How many of these guys are even showing their face? The first 5 pictures don't even show the face. Come on, you can blow these guys out of the water. None of these guys are millionaires. You know what I mean? So it's really, the bar is not that high. And this is a great site. Also, if you're like a younger dude with like a rockin' body or whatever, like I'm not. You can even see like in the bottom right hand corner, there's one of those guys just showing off the muscles. And that works on this site as well. So this site's a little bit more like that. I definitely recommend dabbling with all the different sites and kind of getting an experience. That's kind of where I'm at. Established Men is simply, this site isn't even talking about millionaires or any of that crap. So this is just a girl looking for a guy. Established means you've got your own job. That's it. You get a paycheck every month. You have your own place. You don't live with your parents. And that's pretty much it. So these sites, as you can see, Established Men is a cool site. They got tons of girls on it. It's pretty much a blast. And kind of, you're just basically pre-selected, right? You're pre-selected. This one isn't pushing as hard by saying all the guys are millionaires. So you do get a mix of quality, but again, it's pretty similar to some of the other ones. Meet Successful Men, I would say, is basically the same as the last one. The only difference is that you get different girls. The reason to join multiple sites, and I recommend this, you don't really need to join multiple sites if you're in LA, because there's so many women there. But if you're in a smaller town, you can run through all the women on one of the sites rather quickly. Maybe there's 100 women that you find attractive. You could end up going out with all of them in the next 3 months. What are you going to do? And there are always new women joining, but between all the different sites, you're going to get access to lots and lots of women. Meet Successful Men's pretty good. Sugar Daddy for me, same thing. It's one of the smaller sites, but what I would recommend is look for your area. That's one of the best things I recommend doing with the second half of these sites. The first 5 are the ones I mess around with the most. With a site like this, just see if they have a lot of girls in your town. If they do, then it's worth it. That's kind of what I would recommend for the different sites. Now, let's talk about reaching your goals. And this is really what I recommend doing. This is the pattern I follow. First thing is design your ideal scenario, and it doesn't matter what it is. I'm the last guy that's going to judge you. You can say, you know what, I want to be in a long-term relationship with a pair of really hot twins who live with me, and I support them and help them kind of do their modeling career, and I'm their personal photographer, and we have a blast together, and everything is wild, and it's a free-for-all. That can be your ideal scenario, and you can 100% create that with these sites. You can find that because there's girls out there that are down for that. I know a pair of twins right now, blonde twins, super hot, competed in the Olympics 10 years ago, not for America, but for another English-speaking country. Blondes, really big boobs. Man, you probably know, you'll probably figure it out. But I know twins, they're like super hot that would be down for that scenario, okay? But before you lock into whatever you're looking for, maybe you're saying, hey, my ideal scenario is to date a 27-year-old lawyer who's super hot but wants to meet a high-quality guy. That's fine, okay? That whatever your goal is, it doesn't matter. Then you should just message a bunch of beautiful girls to kind of get used to, get loose, get used to kind of being this new guy and have these experiences. Meet and seduce 3 to 4 girls a week, okay? Date a couple of different girls at least, so you kind of get the experience, you have some comparison. A relationship should be you, monogamy should be you choosing one girl over the other girls you're seeing, rather than choosing a girl over being single and alone. That's really how you choose and have a successful relationship. That's how you have a relationship that works. Once you've kind of gotten the wildness out of your underwear, you can start thinking about long-term stuff, okay? And you could think, you know what, I'm ready to shift. I've gotten some experience. One of the girls I've seen was really awesome and I want to spend more time with her. Or, you know what, seeking arrangement's too wild for me. I need to do something else. I need a girl that's a little more calm. I'm going to mess with Seeking Millionaire and Established Men and find a girl that's really looking for something a little more stable, a little less kinky and wild, okay? And then at that point, you can lock in, you know, a girl that lives with you, a girl you spend more time with, or a travel buddy, you know, a girl that travels the world with you, whatever your passion is. You know, Miss Travel's amazing for that. And then you're in total control of your destiny and your finances. You know, you're no longer married to a woman that has control of you, and if things don't work out, she can take 50% of your wealth away forever. Like, you have that danger as a way. Like, I don't have that divorce fear that all my friends have. I'm not worried about that happening to me, because if I ever get married, I'm going to be in a situation we start with an honest relationship, and it's going to have a prenup as part of it, so that finances never become an element, so that it's always about our relationship. It's like one of the girls in the Dixie Chicks. She married some random Irish guy who didn't know she was in a famous band, and she has a big prenup. And she said it best. She said, having a prenup makes money no longer an issue in the marriage. It actually removes the issue, and it makes it so much better because the games are gone. The thought of the risk of suing each other, fighting over money, all that stuff just goes away. And that's what's really cool. You can be in a long-term relationship. You can be in a long-term relationship with multiple girls. We talk about that in some of the advanced lessons. And you can really just control your destiny and have whatever you're looking for. So think about what you're looking for. We talk about this in some of the other modules. I just want to remind you, if you're looking for a long-term relationship with a girl that lives with you or lives in your area, if you're looking for multiple girlfriends, if you're looking to just have a wild sexual Yahtzee adventure, or you're looking for a travel buddy, just think about that. And maybe you want to try all of them. Maybe you want to do sexcapades, then multiple girlfriends, then travel buddy, then long-term, and you end up living with a girl. That could be the next 10 years of your life. That sounds like a hell of a plan to me. And that's okay. So just think about this. We really dig into this section in the other video, but just put that in your mind. And here's the other thing. Really good question is, can you marry a girl you meet on one of these sites? And think about your exit strategy. It's hard to redefine a relationship. So however you establish the beginning of your relationship, that's going to be locked in. Even though feelings can develop, it's very challenging to turn a financial relationship, if you kind of get into one of those sugar baby relationships where you're supporting her, into a pure, like a full emotional one. Because that'll be, to her, that's a part of the relationship. She'll become addicted to that. And she doesn't know how to separate her feelings from an allowance if you get that far into that type of relationship. One of my friends, he's dabbled a lot with this, and he ended up developing a sugar baby relationship where he's supporting this girl. He gives her a certain amount of money every week to kind of support her. She still works, but he's like supplementing her lifestyle, just like if you were married, and that's the thing. You would kind of, if you're married or living with a girl after a few months, eventually finances get mingled anyways. And this is kind of, you mingle finances before the emotions. That's kind of the difference. But the thing is, he's trying to transition for her into a serious girlfriend or into someone he might marry, and it's just not working. They're even like going to a counselor to kind of help them try and change. But at the end of the day, for her, without the money, the love disappears. So you need to set the tone of the relationship at the beginning, and it's really hard to change that down the line. So if you're looking for a long-term relationship, you're looking for monogamy, it's better to find that on some of the other sites that I showed you rather than like Seeking Arrangement or Sponsor for Me. It's a lot harder to do that because there's girls that want you, that just want to date a wealthier guy. There's girls that want a guy to like help support them or help them with their student loans or all these different things. And then there's, girls that are looking for like an allowance and all that stuff. And I kind of avoid that end of the spectrum, but it does exist. and those girls are super hot, and you can have a lot of fun with them, but taking one of those super hot girls that you're partying and you're supplementing your party lifestyle and then being like, I'm going to marry this girl, that's really hard. You can't change the relationship. So just kind of be aware of that up front. Just focus on having a blast. If you just focus on having an amazing experience and a lot of fun, you can have so much fun and such a blast. And when you're ready to change, don't change midstream. Just start a new relationship with a girl that's on the same page as you, and you can have everything you've ever dreamed of. So this is a lesson on which site, helping you figure out which site to choose and kind of helping you get a little bit of direction. And obviously I'm happy to answer any questions if you want to get more specific. And I'd love to hear about your experiences on different sites, because everyone's going to have different experiences. But these are my favorites. These are the ones I recommend. Don't mess around with ones that aren't on this list, because most of the ones that I didn't include are not included for the specific reason that I know that they have some problems as far as fake profiles and other things, and they're not real.